I am here with the one and only Kyle Kulinski at Politicon. Actually, after watching the panel last night with Tommy Loren, I've decided to call this KyleCon, or Secular Talk Con, because basically Tommy made it very clear she was a little upset about it. So I basically know you all are here for Kyle.
She did say that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
But yeah, man. So first, how has your experience at Politicon been so far? What do you think about the panel that you've been on, and what are you looking forward to?
So yeah, first of all, it's been a lot of fun so far. Shout out to everybody who came and stood in the line for the meet and greet. I was absolutely floored that many people showed up.
2-hour wait. People waited for 2
crazy.
hours. The people told me I had to get in the. It's a VIP band. I was like, I'm gonna go see my homie, and they were like, oh no, you gotta go to the back. I was like, the back for what?
Yeah,
Wrapped.
I couldn't believe how many people were on that line. I told Corin beforehand, I said, I don't know if we'll match the number of people we had last year, because last year we had a lot. And then the second I walked out and I saw the line, I was like, and so I told them an hour and a half for the meet and greet, and that wasn't enough. I needed like 2.
Yeah,
but
like
they had to
2.5
kick me out. I
hours.
remember that clip of Jeb Bush where he's like, they're kicking me out. They're kicking me out. I did that at one point at the end. I was like, they're kicking me out. I have to go on to do a panel or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. I've had fun with the panel so far. The one with Tommy Loren and Lauren Chen and Tim Black. Shout out to Tim Black, who I think did a fantastic job in that panel as well.
Tim was hilarious.
But also, shout out to Niko House, because Niko got a one-liner in there that was just so chef's kiss beautiful, because there was one moment in the debate where basically Tommy Loren told me in so many words, like, well, if you want to change the country to make it like Scandinavia, why don't you just leave the country? Like, she basically said that effectively.
Yeah, of course.
And so there was
Mind you, he was just literally answering the question about healthcare that was directly asked to him.
Right.
And that was her response.
Everybody knew it was stupid, that like, what are you saying? Of course Kyle wants to do that to make the country better. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a point later on where she contradicted herself on that, and it got just a little quiet in the room, and Niko chimed in at the exact right moment, and he was like, why don't you just leave the country? And the room, it's a good heckle when the room is with you.
Yeah.
Because usually the room, if anybody chimes in, usually the room is like, yo,
Yeah.
like, chill a little bit. But everybody laughed at your line.
Listen, how long has the world been waiting to say that to her?
That's so true. That's
like
so
the
true.
whole left is like, bruh. Because what she does is she pulls that every time. When you critique your country, or when we critique America, it's, oh, we must leave the country because we say that there are other places who implement the policies that we support. But when she does it, it's, you must support me, or you are a hypocrite. Or
You hate America.
Yeah,
You
you
want-
hate
yeah.
America. You gotta leave. I'm like, so she made it kind of too easy.
Yeah.
And then shout out to Tim for calling her out on the Kaepernick shit, because after she sat here and
Yeah.
lied to us, I've never attacked Kaepernick personally. I've always been able to separate politics and personal attack. We're like, no, literally your entire career was based off of ad hominem attacks against
He went in on that part. Like, I was like, God damn.
And I was like, oh.
But so I let him hit her on the police brutality angle of that, and
Yeah.
how she was gaslighting and whatnot. And then I tried to nail her by her own standard, which was free speech.
Yeah.
She always says, like, oh, I care so much about free speech. She does all these segments when it's right-wingers who are the
Yeah,
ones who are
100%.
attacked. And I said, but what happens when it's somebody like me? Or somebody like you who's under
Yep.
attack, or you're demonetized, or whatever it may be. All of a sudden, crickets. Nobody's there to defend us from the
And
right.
you could give example after example after example. When you stood up for Joe Rogan, when everybody on
100%.
the screechy left started saying, "Don't go on his show."
He's canceled because he has some right-wingers on or
Yeah,
whatever.
we had to defend Alex Jones, unfortunately, back when he got taken off of YouTube. But like, it wasn't the fact.
It's the precedent. It's not him. It's the principle.
We have no idea what rule they apply.
Exactly.
We still don't know, right? And it's like, because if you say, oh, well, he lied about a political event and made money off of it, so why aren't you taking MSNBC and CNN off of YouTube then?
Exactly. I mean,
Like-
these are the same people who pushed the Iraq War. These are the same people that pushed the intervention in Libya. These are
Exactly.
the same people who have not called out the fact that we're arming Al Qaeda in Syria.
Absolutely.
So they are, in many respects, the conspiracy theorists, but they would never be pulled down because they're part of the club.
Exactly. And matter of fact, they get propped up now.
Exactly.
Like, after lying about Russiagate, having to retract story after story after story, and after we've been correcting them for the last 3 years,
And getting no credit.
and getting no credit, instead of them being held accountable, they're actually getting boosted.
That's right.
And where's Tommy Loren at to talk about it? Because Fox News is one of the ones getting boosted. Despite the fact that Tucker might get anti-war stance right every now and then. But other than that, they're line. They tout the GOP line every time. And yeah, like I said, Kyle could provide example after example where we had to put ourselves out there to say no, we can't. Look, guys, we want to take out Alex. We got to do it with the rhetoric. We can't do it with we can't let the powers that be do it for us, because that was just a low-hanging fruit for them. And guess what? It worked. They figured out, oh, we can do this and get away with it.
Yep.
Then Ronnie Khaled got taken off of Facebook.
There you go. Exactly. See? It's not that, oh my God, this might lead to a slippery slope. It's that, no, it is the slippery slope. We're already going down that slippery slope. Once you open the door and you say, hey, listen, this guy says some insane stuff. The thing is, by what standard are we measuring this? Because remember, it's the fact checkers at the Washington Post who went after Bernie and was like, oh, Medicare for All doesn't work because of this, and this. It's like, you're the fact checker. So these are the people who would be making the decision as to who's allowed to speak and who's not allowed to speak.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, they would never be in favor of guys like you and me, because we say things that are oftentimes genuinely politically incorrect that happen to be factually correct.
Yeah, exactly. Well, usually things that are factually correct are genuinely politically incorrect.
That's right. And the thing is, going back to the Tomi Lahren thing, she's just not ready because she doesn't understand our breed of lefty.
Yes.
She doesn't get that. She
kneecapped
thinks,
her.
That's right. She doesn't. She sees every lefty as like, oh, you're just like an MSNBC bot, you know?
Which it shows, because funny, they were talking about echo chambers during that panel yesterday, and she kept talking, like her and Lauren Chin were talking about it, roaming millennial, for those of you who know she is. And I'm thinking, like, bro, y'all's entire platform is based off of the echo chamber that YouTube props up.
That's so
like,
true.
Y'all have profited more than almost any. And Candace Owens, if she was here, she could be in that group too, more than anybody else. And they're like, oh, but it isn't our job to help bring people out of their echo chamber. I'm like, see, that's the difference between us, who are independent commentators, and Tim, who was on stage, and you. It's like, no, we do consider our job to bring people out of their echo chamber. We do reach the people that are conservative. We do not unilaterally just attack supporters just because they support somebody. Like, that's, like, what, I don't know what she considers to be her job, but that's definitely a big separator between us and them.
That's right.
Go ahead.
And we get them to agree on our terms, which is the thing that matters the most. It's not like I'm going to right-wingers and I'm saying, I'm like conceding and saying, you know, oh, I agree with you on abortion or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm getting them to agree with me, because when I say stuff like, hey, marijuana should be legalized, they go,
And everybody on stage like,
yeah, well, I do believe in small government, and that is an example of very small government, so why wouldn't I be in favor of that? Or something like war, like we always
also,
talk about.
progressives, like, this is all this misnomer that progressives are for big government, and I'm thinking, like, most of the progressives I know are not for big government.
It just depends on the topic. It depends, like
Medicare for all is one thing.
Right, that's one thing
then,
the government should do, but it shouldn't be involved in, like, when it comes locking people up for marijuana. There, I want as small government as possible. I don't want the NSA spying on everybody.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, so
like,
there's
why,
a difference.
Why can the federal government come into California and start, arresting people for marijuana because a federal law contradicts their state law about a plant that's completely and totally safe?
Right.
Like, but they couldn't do that for alcohol, for example. That's like big government. We don't like the fact that in some states you can't control, or actually federally, I think you can't collect rainwater. Your state can allow you, but the federal government, if they find out you're doing it, you can be in trouble for that. Progressives don't like that shit.
Right.
we don't. So, I do love the fact that you were able to kneecap them, because at first you came out the gate like critiquing lefty media, like talking about like
Well, because MSNBC, let's just be clear about all this, and that's who I brought up. They're just not lefty media. It's not. They're Democratic establishment apologist network. That's what they are. And you and I both know the Democrats as a party are certainly not standing up for left-wing values. That's why every other day, what do they talk? Oh, impeachment. Okay, well, what are you going to impeach him over? I don't know, Ukraine, phone call, Mueller, or something. It's never, ever, ever substantive. It's never, like when I talk about impeachment, and listen, I don't think it's going anywhere, so I don't think it's politically a smart move.
Yeah.
But what I always say is, it's not like there's not stuff you can impeach over, but the things I bring up are substantive.
Yeah,
it's
and
the
they
Saudi
won't do
Arabia
it.
deal. Exactly, they won't do it. I'm talking about
Yemen.
genocide in Yemen that he's facilitating, and they're busy talking about a freaking phone call.
Oh my God, he fired James Comey. Oh my God. Like, the
like
OIG report.
Process nerds.
The OIG report.
This is yours.
Oh, did I drop it?
It was on the table over
Oh,
there.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
But the OIG report literally was like, yeah, James Comey was definitely like guilty, like of everything that we thought he was guilty of.
Yeah.
He there was an investigation into the Clinton Foundation going on during the election, and he told the media and he told the legal department, don't talk about it. Like, Those are fireable offenses. That is not obstructing justice. And then he put Andrew McCabe in charge of the Mueller investigation, knowing he had all those conflicts of interest. And it wasn't Trump who fired Andrew McCabe, so you can't call obstruction of justice. It was the FBI who fired. It was the Office of Inspector General of the FBI. So, like, yeah, if you want to talk about impeaching Trump on the emolument clause,
right,
then I'm like, I still think it's not a strategically
not
smart
strategically
move,
smart,
but
there's
I
a principled reason.
With it.
Yeah, I can't argue with it either.
Exactly.
Exactly. Right.
But that's not what they're doing, because almost every congressman and senator at that point would also get in trouble for the emolument clause.
Exactly, and that's why they're not doing it.
They won't do it.
And look at how fickle they are, man. Like, all it takes for the resistance to like somebody is they just have to mumble some mildly anti-Trump sentiments, like what happened with Scaramucci.
Yeah.
Scaramucci was the biggest bootlicker in the Trump administration by far. He loved Donald Trump. He loved everything about him, the macho, bossing around the media and whatnot.
Alpha.
Now all of a sudden, Trump comes after him, so he flips on Trump, and now all of a sudden he's the darling of CNN, he's the darling of MSNBC, and they think he's some sort of hero. Meanwhile, the guy's never said a substantive thing in his life.
James Comey was a Republican, and literally he became the Democrats' hero. And they fundraised for this man millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, and they got the nerve to look at us and be like, but we have to impeach Trump because he's a corrupt one. He's the one calling. And what was interesting that I found on that stage last night is that everybody agreed that impeaching Trump was a bad idea.
Right. Me and Tim, I think, agreed that, like we were saying before, there are literal reasons to do it, but we're being honest also and saying it's just not going to happen because you're not going to get those 20 Republican votes. So
and then you got to ask why, because it's always weird the time that they bring up impeachment, right? So the impeachment discussion kind of fell off a lot because Russiagate kind of died, really.
Yep.
And then the Ukraine situation come up, and when you do the more research, you find out Biden's obviously implicated. Nancy Pelosi's implicated.
Well, that's why they can't. They don't understand that, and this is why impeaching over Ukraine is such a terrible idea. Is that Trump is never going to stop making his own case. And on the Ukraine issue, when he makes his own case, it actually resonates, which is why they're trying to shut him up when he talks about it.
Yeah.
Because what does he do? He just goes, but Biden's corrupt. Where's Hunter? Biden is corrupt. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bro. When the impersonators. Look, where's Hunter?
My God.
Where's Hunter?
Where's Hunter?
He looked under. Oh my
God. The impersonators. You guys will see clips of that. I'm sure they'll be on YouTube at some point. But the impersonators were just so good. By the way,
how was it for that? How you like him doing that?
Well, I was gonna say first of all, I was nervous because I'm not used to being a moderator. I'm not used to having a script in front of me.
Yeah.
Second of all, my timing. It was so hard to get my timing right because they're so good at what they do that I couldn't tell when their bit ended and when I was supposed to interject. Mm-hmm. So I felt like
your boy over there.
Oh, that's right. I saw him before. We said hi before. We're cordial. We were nice to each other.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's talking about
it's gotta
Charlie
be hard,
Kirk,
huh?
everybody.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk is over there.
But yeah, so moderating the Trump-Bernie thing was absolutely crazy. They're so talented, and I struggled to moderate it properly because I couldn't get my timing exactly right because I had to guess on a lot of it.
And he was also trying not to laugh. He was trying so hard. He kept looking.
I couldn't help it, man. They're just too funny.
Tears rolling down my face. I was sitting next to Bree.
Yep.
And we're at one point whenever the Bernie impersonator started talking, he went on a little rant. And we both kind of zoned out, and we literally yo, okay, now this is just actually creepy because it sounded exactly because you're looking at the mannerisms and it looked like Bernie. It sounded exactly like Bernie. It was freaking me out.
That's the thing that got me is that it's not even that their bits made me laugh the most. It would be the little intangible things when they're just doing the mannerisms of Trump, standing up there like that, and then Bernie's doing we're trying to get the attention like this. Yeah. And then before he talks, he'll be
coughing into the mic.
It's just so perfect, man. It was so good.
It was awesome. Oh, and he was like, and let me just say, which is what I always say when I need to buy more time. Bro, I was crying. I was like, oh man, don't be telling the secrets. I know this stuff, but I be trying not to tell people.
And when he does the top 10% of the top 1% of the top 10%,
he started doing the math. To be honest, I feel like he does a better Bernie than what's his name off of
Tony.
SNL.
No, you mean the Trump one, right? The Trump one or the Bernie one?
No, who's the guy who does Bernie on SNL?
I didn't know anybody does Bernie on SNL.
He actually ended up being a relative of Bernie.
I have no idea who this is.
This was a thing. He actually ended up being a third or fourth cousin of Bernie.
No shit.
He's an SNL regular. And they actually had, the one time they had Bernie on, they had him and Bernie on.
The dude, Curb Your Enthusiasm dude.
Yeah,
Larry
Sanders.
Is that it? Larry
Sanders, yeah.
When you say, I'm thinking of Deion Sanders when you say Larry Sanders. Hold on, I'm going to look this up. Because it's from Curb Your Enthusiasm, that dude,
Yeah.
whatever his name is.
And Larry does a fantastic Bernie, but yo, that man.
Larry David.
Larry David.
Larry
There you go.
David. That's
There you
why I
go.
wasn't landing when you were saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. I think James is better than Larry David.
Absolutely.
Even though Larry David naturally looks like Bernie, like they just look the same
Yeah.
in real life. But I definitely think that whatever his name is that does Trump on SNL is nowhere near as good.
Not even. Oh, isn't it Alec Baldwin who usually does?
Alec Baldwin usually
Yeah,
does
not
it.
even close.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
bro.
like,
yeah.
why would you pay Alec Baldwin $1 gazillion to do that job when you can pick up Tony for like half the amount of money and he'd also just knock it out of the park?
Tony's also Tony's too intelligent. He actually
true.
understands. Like that
That's
rant. I love the reparation rant.
Yeah.
And I talked to James after, and I asked him about that because I was like, I was extremely impressed by the conversation.
He's a real lefty, man.
But the way they had that conversation, the way he said that, it was funny for one. It was mostly funny because it was true.
Right.
And every progressive kind of knew, like he's like, and I'm only saying that I'm not for reparations because it would cause me to lose the election, but I would vote on that bill, the one that I said I was against, the moment that it crossed my desk.
But it really is.
Because that's 100%.
That's so true. And it's hilarious the way he delivered it too, because he was just like, I'm wrong about this one. Let me give you my wrong opinion.
Yeah, and it was like there was at one point there's an argument between Bernie impersonator and the Trump impersonator on how to give the best reparations.
Yeah.
Like, and it was an awesome exchange, and to be fair, like that's what debates should look like.
No, absolutely.
Like, how are we going to help more people? And that should not why can't we help more people, but how are we going to get it done?
I love when Bernie was like, you'll say anything and get elected, won't you? And the Trump impersonator was like, yes.
He's like,
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Oh man, the random tangents that he would go on. It was perfect.
I know.
It was perfect. Oh, bro, the walk.
Everything
The
about
Trump
it.
walk.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's got
bruh.
the perfect weird posture.
He wears shoes for that. He wears special
does?
shoes for it. He told
Oh,
me
I didn't
last
even
night,
know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you're dedicated to this shit.
I
So,
didn't even know that.
preview. He's about to go debate Charlie Kirk. What are the topics that y'all supposed to be discussing?
Okay, so first of all, I know there's going to be quite a bit on the economy, quite a bit on the Trump tax cuts, which is good because this is my wheelhouse, man. I know this stuff inside and out. There will be maybe a handful of cultural stuff at some point, some impeachment stuff at some point. He'll be a little surprised with what I have to say on that front.
Yeah. That's about to be ugly.
Yeah, it could get ugly. I mean, I think some of it will be cordial, but a lot of it could get ugly, but that's fine. It's all
When
good.
I say it's going to be ugly, because he's going to be like, you got to remember, these are like people who work off of emotion, right?
Yeah, mhm.
You know my motto, people, social justice warriors are not at all limited to the left in the slightest. And
That's
Charlie
so
Kirk
true.
is absolutely a social justice warrior
That's a great
for the right.
point.
And so there are certain issues, like on the left, and it's almost the exact same issues that they use certain buzzwords to get people emotional, and they are expecting Kyle or another lefty to react in a way that would make it so that they could weaponize it and then turn it into something about America being great, and then the left being trash or the Democrat. But when he's going to say the Democrats are it's a witch hunt and it's not legitimate, and when Kyle's like, I agree, then what's he going to do? Well, how's he going to react?
And then
to that?
especially when I jujitsu that back around to be like, you're right, but also here are the actual things that are impeachable. He's going to be like,
because you're killing him on all fronts.
exactly, 100%.
It's like, are you going to say that these things didn't happen when in fact they did?
But the Democrat panel is the one that everybody's sleeper needs to see.
Yes, he's going to be on with who? James Carville?
Carville is one of them. Zerlina Maxwell is another one.
Oh, bruh. Oh man, you're gonna be called racist and sexist before this is
Yeah,
over.
100%. And then one other person who I'm not remembering at the moment, but it literally is like three centrists versus me, and the debate is what direction should the Democratic Party go in. So that's going to be some low-key, going to be a lot of fireworks.
Well, I don't know if y'all remember on Twitter when he said like the Politicon should just get whoever they want, 3 centrists, 3 righties, or 3 neo-libs.
Bring it.
And he's like, yo, bring them all.
Don't
You're gonna
care.
need all 3 of them to even come close. So you're gonna be able to witness that. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna live streaming for y'all so y'all can see it.
That's what's up.
So I want to talk really quick. The line yesterday, like I said, was crazy. For you, obviously, you've grown incredibly over the last maybe year and a half. Even though obviously we've been dealing with our level of suppression, I feel like your base has gotten stronger. And I believe personally that's for we may not always agree, but you got about 10 or 11 years of consistency, where we've seen a lot of people ride waves.
Yeah.
They're neoliberal one day, they're progressive the other day, they're centrist the next day, they're progressive again. It depends on who's the popular candidate at the time, what's the popular narrative at the time. and you know, for better or for worse, stayed consistent even when people disagreed with you. So for you, how does it feel to stay consistently true to yourself, and after 10, 11 years, you come to an event like this where you have, like you said, Jolena Maxwell's here, James Carville's here, responsible for those of you who don't know, he's the one who came up with the slogan, "It's the economy, stupid," for Bill Clinton. He also came up with Obama's messaging, so the guy knows what he's talking about. You got Bill Weld here, presidential candidate. You got Tommy Loren here, 1.4, 1.5 million. You got Lauren Chen here, Roman Millennial, really popular on YouTube. There are a lot of popular people here. And guess what? They still were not getting the reception that Kyle got. How does that feel for you as like one of the pioneers of the independent political journalism?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying all that. But second of all, it was just really humbling because I didn't know if that was what it was going to be like. Like, I was talking to Corin before, and I just said to him,
especially in Tennessee.
Exactly, you know? Like, I was telling him, hey, man, I don't know if we're going to top last year, because last year we got a lot of love, got a lot of support, and I was like, I don't know if it's going to top it. Then I went to the meet and greet, and I was like, goodness gracious, because I was blown away by the support, and it really is just humbling, and I appreciate everybody showing up. And I don't know, man, I try. It is what it is. I try to do as good as I possibly can and just try to stay consistent. And I don't know, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror if I wasn't just telling everybody exactly what I believe. So agree or disagree, everybody knows they're just going to get exactly what's no filter here. And I think that's something that everybody appreciates. They appreciate it about you. They appreciate it about me. And there's a number of people who are in this space that we're in that they really do appreciate that.
Shout
and when
out to Jimmy.
you do that, that's right. And when you do that, even though there are biases with the algorithm and YouTube against us and whatnot, it's weird. They still find a way. They find a way to, like, you know, get around it and support you.
Yeah,
and
it worked, and that's why I like really appreciate my supporters who are going out of their way. There are people who wake up every morning and like the first thing they're looking up is our shows.
Right.
Like, and when it's very, very humbling. If 100 people did that,
right? Yeah.
It was humbling then.
Absolutely.
You know, and even now, seeing. I mean, listen, y'all, like I said, if you were in that panel, it was incredible to listen to just the amount of people who clapped when Kyle spoke. And also, I think what was also awesome was that a lot of the people there didn't know Tim because this is Tim's first time as a Politicon.
And he did a great job.
He did such a great job. By the end of it, they were all cheering as loudly for Tim as it was for Kyle. And it just really showed that the space, that this very unique niche that we occupy, like, our conversation that we're having is the one that needs to be had, and we need to be doing everything we can to push that conversation to not only lefties but to everybody. You know, I know Kyle's big into the convergence. I'm really big into that, especially for me. It's like racism is one thing that I really try to convert my conservative followers on, like systemic racism. And when you're having the real conversations, but the part of having a real conversation is calling a spade and keeping your own house clean and holding your own team accountable just as much as you're looking to hold somebody else accountable, and not pretending that the sycophantic behavior and the craziness, that's the vitriol that we've seen is limited to one side or the other. We see it on both sides, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to call it out on both sides in a legitimate way. And I think that's something that we all bring to the table. I think you did a fantastic job of that last night. And I think what I saw gave me a lot of hope in this movement going forward.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
No, I appreciate you, man. Well, good luck.
And I hope you're there to deliver another one-liner that just kills the room in these next ones, because I'm telling you, did you get that on video, your one-liner?
Oh yeah, I tagged you on Twitter.
Oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah.
That was so good. I'll find it and retweet it, because that really was like one of my favorite moments.
They got your face because you were like.
One of my favorite moments was not even from me. It wasn't. Well, Tim Black did a great job, but it wasn't from him. That was one of my favorite moments because the whole room exploded because he delivered a one-liner out of the blue that was perfect.
Yeah, and the moderator didn't even know how to react. He was like, "Fuck."
You could tell he kind of was like he liked it, but at the same time he had to pretend he didn't like it.
Yeah.
He was like, "All right, audience questions later," with a giant smile.
One of my favorite parts was when he was like, "All right, everybody. Let's try to give everybody the love and support that we give to Kyle, okay? Let's give all the panelists the same amount of love and support." And but what was so bad is that a lot of the people, people around me were like, "No, I don't think so."
Corin afterwards was like, me and him were in the room, and he was just like, when that dude said that, yo, fuck him. I was like, no, I kind of
It's
understand.
super
'Cause
awkward
honestly,
though.
I felt,
But it's
that's
awkward
what
when
I'm
he
saying.
said it. Why say that? Because that would put you in a weird position
No,
where you
but-
gotta be like,
Low key, even I felt a little bit though when the room was so overwhelmingly on my side. Even I was like, reel it in a little bit.
yeah.
Because
But
I
shit-
don't want them to be off put from the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
that's
later
true.
on, after I destroy you and bury you, yes,
Then
go
everybody
ahead.
cheer, yeah.
Yes, but at the beginning, I don't want them to feel like, oh my God, this thing is totally. There's no way.
But
And
I feel like
James
they made-
Carville's about to feel that, and that's what's up though.
I fe-
Seriously.
That's about to be dope.
Yeah,
I'm
for
about-
him.
what was funny to me also was when Tommy, it got to a point where it was awkward the way she was trying to get the room on her side, which I figured she would have given up at the beginning,
Yeah.
but she didn't. And it's like every time you said something, she was like, okay, well, I think,
Yep. That's
you know,
right.
free speech is really important. And like, I'm like, bruh, like, okay, you just said the same thing 3 different times in 3 different ways. Like, give it to, at least Lauren Shin, she actually said some profound shit.
She did. She's had some good
Which
stuff.
pissed me off because that's not how she usually talks.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
There was a good marketing gimmick for her. So if you're watching this, Roman Millennial, I know what she was doing. Smart though, because if I didn't know who you were, I would believe I'd be going to your channel right now to go check you out.
You know what Tommy Lauren can't do that you and I know how to do, which is why we're able to get people to agree?
Mm-hmm.
She was incapable of doing. Remember, there was a moment in it where I said there were some issues where Trump outflanked Hillary to the left. He did it on trade, he did it on intervention, and because of those things, like now if she disagrees with me on it, you're not disagreeing just with me. You're disagreeing
Yeah.
with Trump, who you say you like.
Yep.
So it's a checkmate up front because there's no way she wiggles
couldn't
out
do
of it.
Then she changed the subject.
Well, that's what, because she's incapable of doing what I can do, what you can do, where we go, you know what? Decent point, and now, let me add on to that. She can't do that because she's too
Exactly.
stuck on the, I need to do conflict right now, right up front. And
Yeah.
it's just, that doesn't work because it's too fake.
Lauren did it though. She was good at that shit.
No, she was good at it,
Well,
exactly.
I think it was was it the whistleblower conversation? or
Yes,
something to that
at the end she
extent?
was just like, oh, I totally
I
agree.
100% agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Period. And I'm like, see, she knows how to work a crowd too.
Yes.
And for some reason, like Tim fantastic as
Yeah,
well.
Tim was great. I think he does really good in that format too. I've never seen him in this format in front of a whole group of people
Oh,
because
yeah.
he knows how to.
He's a comedian.
Yeah,
He's been on
timing
tour
is
and-
there, and timing is not always an easy thing for people, but he's got that natural knack for it.
Yeah. Overall, that was probably my favorite panel so far. But today's about to get a little heated.
That's right. In
So-
fact, I have to go off to one of
Yeah.
those like right now.
Nah, go ahead. We'll be seeing you in a little bit, man. So you got the debate preview here. Kyle's I'm gonna be live streaming, so make sure you stop in. And bro, Kyle's about to wreak havoc today.
Thanks for joining us, guys. And Niko, thank you.
This is really seltzer, so you know what time it is.
There
This
was
is really
seltzer in there with water, with vitamin water.
Appreciate you, man. Don't kill it.
Brother, I will.
And always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.